I first met Jonathan Winters about 1953 or 54. Jack Parr at that time, believe it or not, was doing a show early in the morning on CBS. And I went in to fill in for him once, and they said, you have a fellow called Jonathan Winters on today. And he came on, and I thought then he was the most inventive, off-the-wall comedians I have ever seen, and I still think that. He's just finished a movie called Moon Over Parador with Richard Dreyfuss. He's written a book called Winter's Tales, Stories and Observations for the Unusual. Would you welcome Jonathan Winters? Little pouch there.
Well,
just a little
you know, turkeys carry a lot of stuff in front, and it costs them their lives. So I'm carrying everything. I've been carrying it for a long time, and I tell you, you know, it's just since we're on this.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm so thankful, really, to be here at this particular time, because of the book and because I'm alive, and you know, my shoes are corrective. I can feel my toes now. They didn't come through a chiropractor. What is not a chiropractor? You're a colonel. What is it? A general.
Chiropodist or podiatrist. Or podiatrist.
Podiatrist. You know, I had too many guys working on my feet. That's why they had to be corrected. But at any rate, I stopped drinking a long time ago.
Oh, yes.
Obviously, I haven't stopped eating, but I stopped smoking. There's so little left. And that's out.
And the feet are out. And that's that's a memory, too.
That's a memory, you know? Yeah. It falls off, and it's gone away. Flies away.
Does it bother you getting older?
No, it doesn't bother me. I'm 62 now, John.
What was it you said one night? You were on the final...
Final glide path.
Yeah.
It's the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
For those people who are doing a lot of this, get ready. You can't take that can through. It doesn't happen. My stepfather once said to me, if you make 60, you are definitely in the fourth quarter. Yeah. Definitely. Might be OT. Mm-hmm.
You come from a family of...
A small family. I was the only child. I'm glad. I got everything there was to get.
No rivalry?
Not a lot either. No rivalry. No, I fought an attorney, killed him on the spot. He said, you get the kitchen knives. Good. You'll do time for this, and then it was gone.
Anyway, you want to talk about this?
Sure.
I mean, it's called...
Get off of kitchen knives.
You got it.
This was a book, took me 5 years.
5 years?
Yeah. A little slow.
Well, you have a word processor?
No, I don't have a word processor.
See, that's modern now. If you were a kid now, you'd have a word processor.
This is all I got. Yeah. And that's all Lincoln wrote with, you know. I can't type, very honestly. I can't. It's unfortunate. And with the secretary situation, it's a little frightening, you know. The senators are being reported and things. So I thought it's better to stick with a little hand.
Did your wife suggest you should not use a secretary?
Yeah,
was that
right away. She said that ballpoint pen, get on it. And so I went down the basement and between jobs wrote this little 216-page book. And it's a book on short stories, a little poetry, it's reflections, observations. It's not what you call a funny book. I don't want to turn you off on this, but it's reflections, observations, which can be funny.
Pithy comments.
Yeah, pithy. Yeah. Toward the end, it gets pithy. But you can sit, and you know where you sit a lot of times. You can sit there. Here, Margaret, look here. And
what's your favorite? Anything in here you'd like to?
Well, they're all my favorite. That's an ego problem. No.
Before you do that, why don't you find one, and we'll do a commercial.
Okay. I'm just as interested as you are.
Your hands are cold.
Yes, my hands are cold. Hold on to me.
We'll do this, and we'll come right back for our reading corner. All right, friends, now, in our author's corner, this is what I'll call our normal author spot now, and John's going to read from his Random House did this book?
Yes.
A little excerpt from some of your observations.
Okay.
Okay.
Sit right up, pencils up or pencils down. This is called How much money did you make today, little man? How much money did you make today, little man? Only 15 cents. I sold an old green bottle I found buried out back of the barn. How much money did you make today, little man? Carried some groceries, 4 big bags of them, for an old woman to her car. She gave me a whole quarter. How much money did you make today, little man? I raked leaves all day long for Mr. Rogers. Took them into an old dirty sheet down to Buck Creek and burned them. Both my hands are sore and full of blisters. Mr. Rogers gave me $1, silver dollar. Said he'd had it for a long, long time. That's Mr. Rogers cracking nuts. Either that or the fireplace is on fire. How much money did you make today, little man? I washed Grandpa's pickup and then waxed it. Made it look almost new. Grandpa gave me 75 cents and a picture of him in uniform when he was in World War I. How much money did you make today, little man? I shoveled snow all day Saturday and most of Sunday. Would have made a bunch of money, but the handle broke. As it was, almost made $2. How much money did you make today, little man? I didn't make a cent today. Hard to believe, ain't it? I've been hustling ever since I was born. But today I found something better than money. Something I've been looking for a long, long time. Ever since my dad died. No, it ain't money. I found a friend. A real friend. Somebody that don't care whether I got money or not. Last thing she said to me today was, I don't care how much you made today. Little man, I love you and just want to be your wife. It's not to say she doesn't love me. I'm sure she does. And I love her. But we're only kids. And I'll bet you anything, when I grow up and do marry her, first thing she's going to say is, how much money did you make today, little man?
That's nice. That's nice, Pete. Whoa. Yeah. You have described yourself as a 60-year-old kid, right?
Oh, 62, yeah.
62. Do you still
62.
hang on to your childhood possessions?
Yeah, I've got my ball mitt, which is really, it's small. It's just, my hand is small, and it just very barely covers my hand. It's an old mitt, Walker Cooper out of St. Louis.
You can't throw it away, right?
No, I can't throw it away.
I've got stuff like that.
I tried to throw it away, and it was thrown back at me.
Yeah.
No, I have marbles. I have a .22 rifle. I have a couple of boxes of soldiers, and I got to tell you one little story, John, especially this time of the year when people are, in the festive mood, and also people with, large pins ready to hit the turkey there in New York and watch it. At any rate, no, I was kidding about that. I always wanted to do that as a kid. Go, ooh, watch the big rubber turkey. Terrible. You're a violent child. I stuck it in a real turkey. He went at me. No, when I came home, this is a moment of grief, but for a lot of people, but I came home from the war, and I was just, again, talking about Thanksgiving, like yourself, strafing people there in Philadelphia. But I came home, and I went down the Stone Road, and my mother was there, and I said, you had to cue her a lot, and she was in show business. She was in radio and an actress, but I'd say, Mother, it's me, and her eyes were not Vaseline at that time. And I said, Johnny, your son. I see you. So it was a very demonstrative family, and ran to it. A lot of the minorities would run and grab each other, but boy, when you're full Caucasian, a lot of times it's back off, So,
full Caucasians are like
Caucasian.
that. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So, and eventually she grabbed me, the bottle dropped, Oh, nice, sweetheart, it is you. And so I went to my room, which about this area in here, bed, wash bowl, and a commode, and place to hang the funny shirts. So I said, Mother, it's great to be home, number one. And I said, where are my toys? There's a long pause. She said, you're 20 years old, dummy. And very sensitive at that time, too. I mean, if you said that had been said to me in the service, and of course, grenade. So I didn't have any grenades, or she'd have been history. So I said, Carol, say about your mom. We're a tough family.
You gotta call it as you see.
You got it, because she'd survive. I know her.
Yeah.
And
tough old lady.
Blow her into a tree, come right out with some squirrel. So she said, you're 20 years old. What are we talking about the toys for? And I said, she said, I gave them away to the mission. I said, that's all right. That's okay, the poor kids. But you should have written me, those last hours in Philadelphia where I discharged. And I said, please, why, you should have let me know. And she said the line I'll never forget. She said, well, sweetheart, how did we know that you were going to survive? So that's when I put her in a home early.
A lot of warmth in that family, huh?
Parents are funny. I know they kid a lot.
Yeah. Let's go back to the very first Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Very first one.
Okay.
How do you manage it was as a pilgrim? I mean...
Well, you have to realize at that time, which I don't think a lot of people do because so many years have passed, they were basically from England, downtown London. And either that or, Southampton. Bye-bye, have a good voyage. Of course, the little boats were kind of a joke, and they went around in circles, and then everybody, so about 7,000 people went, and they moved out. No Evan Roods in those days, gang. So I imagine they got to Plymouth Rock, what it was, around 1620?
Mm-hmm, about that.
Something like that, 1621.
Jamestown, I guess?
Jamestown, good. And guy pointed, that's Jamestown. Yes, it says on the map, Jamestown. Everybody, yeah. And, of course, the boat went right into Plymouth Rock, and they swam ashore. And then they got up on the rock, and everybody prayed, usually on the rock. And those that didn't pray were cuffed around a little bit. And by the minister, hey, don't you believe? You don't believe? So... then, of course, the Indians showed. God bless the Indians. I still have, a lot of love and respect for the Indians, too. They were obviously in just standard, buckskin and feathers. And here are these people, and the Indian would say, of course, that was a Wyandotte, and you could distinguish him from an Algonquin or Iroquois and Seneca. And he was saying, look at the buckles on the dummy. And... of course, it was something for an Indian because he had no buckles. Good waist, tight, and maybe a rubber band, but certainly not a buckle. And it'd say, and then the guy had buckles on his shoes. Hey, no wonder they were not wanted right away. And then the buckle on the hat told him that he'd had some special treatment. But that's pretty much Thanksgiving as I remember it.
How do you think the farmer Elwood P. Suggins would feel about Thanksgiving? Does he raise turkeys, Mr. Suggins?
Yes. I raised turkeys. In the beginning, we raised turkeys back in the late 30s. We had about 600 of them, and I thought it was early snow, but it was just white turkey. And we just went out there with full shot, about 12 shot, opened up and got a lot of them, and then I had heavy grief over that. And I had heavy grief that I'd kill them birds. So today, we just wait for a Cadillac to come through town. And if they cross the road, the Cadillac belongs to the Cadillac there. And I picked one out just for Sunday, right out of the grill. Bird had just like this, had the design on it and everything. But we've taken to eating some small animals. I don't want to go into that.
Mrs. Suggins is still living,
Mrs. Suggins is full of life.
Yeah.
She's bedridden.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. Which works in her favor.
I see.
I give her a box of chocolates.
Good-hearted woman, though.
And a new VSR, whatever thing. She's asked for something special. See movies on it.
Watch some movies, yeah.
Yeah, and she watches that. Yeah. And I watch her, and then we watch the movies together. And I get her to the window so that she can look at the kids. Just drag her out of bed and over at the window. Go ahead, look at her. Put it on F6 and put it on CU, close up, and then I drop her out of the window. Kids will play with her for 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. Well, they've dragged her around and wore her back off.
Yeah, well, I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving and give my best to Mrs. Suggins. Sounds like a remarkable woman.
Are you watching to it?
Yeah, well, she's probably watching now. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back, honey.